Hello, and welcome to I'm Every Woman. I'm your host, Natisha Clarke, and I am so excited to have you here with us today. This podcast is a celebration of beauty, strength, and complexity of womanhood, especially from the perspective of Jamaican women. Here, we dive deep into the stories that shape our lives, balancing family, friendships, work, and personal passions. It's a space where we share laughs, insights, challenges, and triumphs, all while embracing the unique cultural roots that make us who we are. Today, I have a wonderful guest joining me, and I can't wait to dive into a conversation that I know will be inspiring, fun, and thought provoking. So grab your favorite drink, get comfortable, and let's start the journey together. Hello there. Hi. So here we have the beautiful, I call her Auntie Nikki. I've known her a very long time. I can't really recall how long I've known you. I don't know if I've known you since I was a baby, but I've known you for a long time. So just to give a little background, Antoniki, I used to live with my sister at one period in time. She used to be my guardian, and Antoniki was our neighbor, right? So that was years ago. So Antoniki, I'm going to start off with you by introducing yourself, allowing you to introduce yourself and tell us who you are and where you're from.
Okay, well, as Natisha calls me Auntie Nikki, but my name is Stacey-Ann Johnson, married Bailey, from the quiet and peaceful community of Culloden, which is located in Westmoreland, Jamaica. I am a mother of two and
Mm-hmm.
a mother of one. I'm a teacher by profession for the last 24 years.
Yes.
Uh,
Wow.
yes. What else do I need to say? Yeah, I think myself as very compassionate, friendly, and uh,
A
all
good
yeah,
person.
uh, good person.
Yes, I would add to that you're a good person. And we don't have to speak English. I do prefer power. But if you want to go English, that's no problem, right? So, where were you born? Where did you grow up?
Oh wow, that's a long story. Okay, I was born in the parish of Saint Catherine in a
Mhm.
small village by the name of Bagua, which is yeah, close to the Spanish Town area, across the flat bridge. I
Mm.
left there. I was told that my grandmother came and she took me from Bogwalk and um, took me to live with her in Westmoreland at the age of 4 years old.
Mm.
That's what I was told. And so I grew up in Culloden, White House, Westmoreland.
Oh, so where your grandmother come from? Because you said she came. So where did she come from?
She's from Culloden. She's from Culloden. So she came to Bogwalk, took me from my mom, who is also from Culloden, but for some weird reason, I don't know how she ended up in Bogwalk, but she did. And that's where I was conceived and born. And so my grandmother decided that, I'm the first granddaughter. So
Mm.
she came and she took me back to Westmoreland with her. And
Okay.
that's
So for the first 4 years, you were in Bogwalk, St. Catherine, and then no. So all your life, then you've been in Cologne and White House. Then most of your life.
I went back to Bagua when I was in my early 20s for the first time. I went back to
Mm.
that's where my father's side of family is from, Bagua. I went back there in my early 20s. That's the first time I can remember going back there to visit.
Okay. So when you now came to Culloden to live, you were living with your grandmother and your mother at that time? Or
Yes.
what was the family dynamics like at that
Uh,
time?
After a while, my mother came back to Culloden, and there we lived with my grandmother, my aunt, my uncles, my cousins. It was a big family affair, a big family house. So we were living there. I grew up
Mm.
there until my mother um, migrated to the USA, and I still remain with my aunt and my grandmother and uncles and cousins.
Okay. So we're seeing this. I feel like it's very common for when we're growing up in Jamaica to be raised by someone else other than our parents. It is so common. It's like unrealistic. It's like I feel like half of the country someone else raised you separate from your parents, because I feel like probably one of the reasons I'm assuming your mother migrated was to make sure that there was a better life for probably you and your siblings, right? So I feel like that's very common. So how was it like growing up with your grandmother and your aunts and uncles? Was your grandmother strict? What was that like for you as a child growing up, knowing that you didn't get a chance to live with mommy?
Well, it has its positives and negatives, bittersweet moments and stuff like that. I can remember that not only my grandmother was strict, but also my mom. I can remember the first time I got a whooping from my mother.
Auntie Nikki get beat.
I remembered she told me to wash the dishes, and girl, I wanted to go play because we grew up near an estate where it was a big, what would call it, a common, and
Yeah.
all the children were playing and all of that. And she called me and said I should go wash the dishes.
Mm-hmm.
As a little girl, typical child, I wanted to go and play.
Play. So you're
Therefore,
upset, yes.
very upset. I was mad. I was pissed. I was angry. And after a few calls, I decided to come, and I stood beside the sink. I said, I wish God would just kill me right here.
Oh, God.
And my mother heard. And it would have been better if God had killed me right there. Because she grabbed and she started beating and beating and beating and beating. My own grandmother felt sorry, came and took me and put me behind the bathroom door and was trying to hide me from her. She was so mad that I said that, my mom. She was through the house. I could hear her stamping and looking for me. That time I got me behind the bathroom door. I was so small. So she put me behind the bathroom door and was hiding me. And as soon as I heard my mom's foot came inside the bathroom, I was so afraid I screamed out. And she found me, and man, the whooping continued
Again and again.
and
Oh, gosh. So at what age were you? You can remember what age? Around what time?
Well, I was about 7, 8 years old.
You're young. So as them would have said, like, no man, you're like, so they would have said, I don't know if this would have work out in this situation, like you start smelling early, because that's a bright thing for you to say. How dare you? How dare you?
And yeah, that was probably the first time I remember getting a whooping, and the last time from my mother, because she migrated soon after. And then I was left with my grandmother. And yeah, that's the start of the bittersweet moments of my life.
Yes. And how did it feel when your mother migrated? Was there a sense of she's going to take me, or there's a sense of my mother left me and gone? How did that feel for you?
At first, it was just the excitement of your mom is living in America. You're gonna get everything. Everything. You're gonna get the dolls, you're gonna get the clothes. Because at that time, my mom, she couldn't really afford, because my sister was then born. So it was the two of us. My dad wasn't taking care of us. He couldn't give zero about two of us, because I guess he was upset that my mom had left him in St. Catherine. And so he decided the only way he could get back at her was to not take care of his two kids. And so it was my mom she does domestic work. She cleaned houses, she washed people's dirty clothes and all of that, just to make ends meet with us. I can remember like September morning, you know that everybody's going back to school in their brand new shoes, uniform, bags, book, and all. I remember going to school barefooted.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that's what it came down to.
True.
So I went to school barefooted. I went to school sometimes without uniform. I had to wear like a blouse or a little skirt, you know. But she couldn't afford it much. So her migrating to the US was like, yes, I'm finally going to have it all. I'm going to have the clothes that I've missed out on, the shoes, everything I'm going to have. So I was pretty much excited. Yes, I missed her, but at the same time, yeah, I know that I would be getting the luxuries that, you know, every little girl wants. The doll, the clothes, yeah.
Oh, wow. So what was it like now, after that, now realizing mommy's going away? How did you feel in that period? Because now that's how you felt initially. But how you feel after a while, knowing that she's gone, you don't get a chance for physically the road your mother, because of course you could be making phone calls back then, but you didn't necessarily have video calls back then where you could like see her face. It's probably she would have to send a picture. So how did you feel at that time, knowing your mother not there and your father is not there, but even though you still have the support of immediate family, the persons that brought you into this life were not there? How did that make you feel?
It was a very lonely journey, very lonely. And I guess that's why I'm how I am today. You know, I prefer to stay by myself, secluded, because after a while you started growing up and there's no mommy there to talk to. You know, you can talk to your family members, but there's nothing like a mother. And you know, I could only get to talk to her on Sundays, and that's only sometimes because, as you said, there wasn't the availability of telephones or cell phones. There was one call station, you call it phone booth, and that was in Sav, like about 20 miles away. That was in Sav, and only on Sundays I could get to go, and that is only sometimes. And there would be long line to the road because everybody, I guess that was the day that everybody would call their families in the US parts of the world. And you have to get your phone card, and you have to stand in this long line, and then there was a time limit for you to be on the phone and all of that. So it got very lonely for me. That was the only time I could hear her. Otherwise, it would be just letters, and you know, letters coming through the post from the US, how long that would take. We would write back again and stuff like that. But that was one side of it. That was the negative part. But at the same time, I know that mommy would be sending burials with food and clothes and toys that I needed. I remember at one point I had so much clothes that I had a big suitcase for my sister, and clothes were in there so that rats went to started having children.
Oh, Jesus.
We didn't have chance to wear the clothes before get more clothes again. And you know, that was the happy side of it. I could now wear what I wanted. I had all the latest clothes and shoes and everything now, comparing to when she was here and we had to be going barefooted.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the positive side of it. But of course, you know, you're gonna miss your mommy turning into a young lady now, and you know, puberty starts to step in and stuff like that. I remember here she came and she was like, Nikki, you started period yet? And I was like, you know, because you know, and she was saying like, oh, what if you started? I had started, but I don't know if I was a bit timid to tell her. Since she was gone for such a long time, I didn't know how to bond with her anymore.
Yes.
You know, and she was there. I guess she understood what was going on, and she was there, and she said, okay, all right, I'm gonna send, and if you need it, then you know where to get it from. But I was never short of anything in that time. Never.
That's wonderful. So I'm glad she got the opportunity to leave, even though I can only imagine how stressful and how sad she would have been to left her babies. But I feel like somehow it brought her joy to know that she was able to provide
Yeah.
for you both, right? And I just want to touch back because I wasn't there in those days. But like the phone booth, where in South was that phone booth?
Do you know where Woolworth is? Try and see if you can what Woolworth. All right. You know where Larman's is?
Lamans, yes.
Little,
Downtown South?
yes, downtown, right? They're still there. I think the boxes are still there. The phones are not functional, but the boxes are still there. They're on the, you would call it the right hand side of it,
Side.
just before you reach to the bottom arcade.
Hmm. Mm. Me have to look out for it hand at time. Let see. Oh,
Yeah,
right.
there's about five sets of phone booth right there.
One. You can only imagine, but how you tell the story of just like how people have to wait and that was the only access to phone.
Only.
It just that look like not saying that look like prison. Like
Yeah,
not because we weren't developed as yet. The world wasn't developed as yet for us to now have our own cellular phone and everything. So having a time limit to talk on the phone, only access to the phone. Wow, we've really grown since those days. Wow.
a lot. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So what were your teenager years like growing up?
Oh, that's where the saddest and the hardest part of my
And
life.
how's
All right. So coming on to my teenage years, I started to feel the effects of not having my mother around. Not my only father figures were my uncles, which they did an excellent job with me. And started to miss my mom,
mm-hmm.
was in all age school at that time. It wasn't called primary, it was called all age school. And in grade 6 now, and I started to cry for her more often, getting into my teenage years. I wanted somebody to bond with and to talk with. My aunt was there. My grandmother had left. She had migrated. My grandmother migrated when I was in fourth grade, grade 4.
Mm-hmm.
All my aunts and my uncles. And so as I said, it was very lonely. I was the first grand girl. I had an older cousin than me, but he's a male. And so he would be out, boys making trucks with his friends. So I was basically there alone. I had
Mm-hmm.
2 other cousins, but they were I'm 6 years older than they are. My sister, I'm 6 years older. My
Okay.
5 years older. So you see, it wasn't much of a company. I couldn't talk to them how I wanted to talk to them, and then I wasn't allowed to leave the yard. Period. Boys, they can roam all over, but girls,
All
you
the way, yes.
in the house, stay in the
Mm-hmm.
yard. I had a neighbor. She was closer to my age, probably 2 years younger than I am. And whenever I tried to go see her, as soon I entered her yard, I heard my name calling. I had to go back over. And so,
Nikki, come
yeah.
here.
And so it was just me and my thoughts that were there left. Whatever difficulties I was going through, I worked them out on my own. Nobody liked to talk, to confide in, to ask advice or anything like that. It was just me and me. Because as I said, I just barely spoke to my mother once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was left to solve all my problems to myself. I kept them to myself because it didn't make sense to me to say anything to my aunt or anybody else. Because, in those days, children were to be seen and not heard.
Heard, yes. Mm-hmm.
Children were to be seen and not heard. They assume that everything is okay with us because we're not responsible for ourselves. We don't provide our own food.
We don't pay bills.
Pay bills. So pick me all right.
Yeah.
They pick me happy, but far from it.
Yeah, that's not the truth.
That's not the truth. And so I realized that, I just depended on me. I just depended on me. I didn't even know anything about God to say, pray, to be honest with you. I didn't even know anything about God to say, all right, pray and ask God to help. None of that. It was just me, 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 me. And so I kept things to myself. Some things go away, some things I had to figure it out on my own and stuff like that. I felt very neglected in that time. Felt very neglected, worthless. Yeah. When I was in 6th grade, I remember they had the common entrance. And I wasn't successful in the common entrance. And so I went on to 8th grade. For some reason, I don't know why I didn't go to 7th grade. I left from 6th grade and went straight to 8th grade. I didn't do the 7th grade at the school at New Hope. And I am in 8th grade, you were allowed to take the overage or the technical entrance, as it was called, overages. I took it and I was successful. I went to Form Technical High School. Again there, I was struggling a bit. I don't know what had happened, but somehow, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I'm not sure how to explain it. But I felt really neglected and all of that.
Yeah.
And soon after that, the worst thing that could have happened to anybody happened to me. The worst thing. I went to from when I was in the 9th grade. And when I was in 10th grade, the worst thing that could have happened to any child happened to me. This Saturday morning, I got up and I was told, your mother died.
I'm sorry about that, Auntie Nikki.
Just like that.
So it's been so many years since you last saw her. You didn't get a chance to see her before anything happened.
Got a chance to talk to her,
Her.
to say goodbye. Nothing.
That's right.
My world turned upside. Felt like I was spinning. Felt like I was falling. I felt like I was in outer space floating. Came back to myself. I was laying. My grandmother had some big pens before she had migrated. And I found myself laying in some grass beside the pig. I didn't know where I was. Was just told to me, your mother died. And that was the end of it.
And I don't think probably there was any counseling back then that family members would have provided. Were there any hugs that were given or anything? Because, no, because we as Jamaicans, sadly, we really lack that emotional support, the I love yous, the hugs, the kisses. So I'm really sorry you had to go through that at that time, especially a time when you feel like neglected and nobody did it for you, nobody not understand you. I know this big shift, especially you get to have that bond with a mother to talk to her about certain things, to run certain joke with her, because after you reach a certain age, Not when you're young, but when you reach a certain age, you can start run look a joke with your mother, and you realize, oh my God, this is actually a human being. And I'm so sorry you were robbed the opportunity, right? And then now you're left to navigate life on your own. You've been navigating it on your own, and now it just feels like you're really by yourself.
I remember the first question I could ask when I heard that was, who killed her?
Mm.
And I was told that, the circumstances, she went into a surgery. She developed a blood clot, which moved its way to her brain and cut the oxygen. She was on life support. And even when she was on life support, nobody had said to us that, your mother is sick, she's in the hospital.
Mother sick. Yeah.
There was no preparation. And then the rest of family, they knew. They knew she was in the hospital, she was going to do a surgery. They knew that the surgery didn't go so good and she was on life support. And none of those days that my sister and I were told that,
Yeah. So just one day, just wake up so and just hear this
and just hear
news, and just like,
and yeah, so
crazy.
I own now, no father. My sister and I, as I said, I'm 6 years older than her. So I was in charge of just me now and my sister. I had a brother. My mother had a child when she came here, a little boy. He was 4 years old, or going on to 4, almost 4 when she passed too. But he was here in the US. He was born here. So it was my sister and I in Jamaica. Now I'm not only responsible for caring for myself and my emotional needs, but I also have a little sister who is dependent. She doesn't know what, she was 10 years old.
She doesn't understand.
Doesn't understand. She needed some love, some guidance, some, emotional support as well. So I had to be providing that for myself and for her.
And for your sister.
I remember one night I went to bed and I dreamt my mom. She came to me. No, she did not come to me. She sent someone with a postcard. It was a white postcard with gold writing on it. And when I opened the postcard, it says, "Take care of your sister and brother." That's what I dreamt. Somebody, I don't know who she sent with it, but I didn't see her. In a dream, you say you see somebody. I didn't see
somebody,
but I knew that the postcard was coming from her. In the dream, I knew it was coming from her. A white postcard, very white, with gold writing, and it says, when I open it, it says, "Take care of your brother, your sister."
Your sister. Have you when did you first get a chance to meet your brother? Did you ever get a chance to meet him?
Yes. She took him there to Jamaica a couple times before she died. She took him.
Also, you saw her, so she's been back to Jamaica after she migrated.
Oh Lord, yes, a lot of times. That was the part I skip out. A lot of times, I remember going back. I remember one evening, my grandmother had sent me to the shop. They knew she was coming. Nobody told me anything.
Tell you.
And as soon as I got back from the shop, I saw the car coming, and when I look, it was my mom. She was wearing like a little green pantsuit and stuff like that. So pretty, so nice. I'm so happy. A couple times she came. She came a couple times during that time when she was away. She came back. Yeah, and so I got to meet my baby brother, and we knew of each other. But as I said, he was an American citizen, and so each time she comes, she takes him and took him back and stuff like that. So I knew I had a brother.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Are you both still in contact today?
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Good.
Yes, he's living in Tallahassee now.
Okay, good. Because I don't think I've ever met your brother. I met your younger sister, but I don't think I've ever met your brother.
Because unfortunately, he was living with my grandfather here. He after my mother died, my grandfather used to take him to Jamaica too. So we used to get to
Mm.
and my grandfather used to come to Jamaica every summer. So summertimes I used to look forward to seeing my brother, but then my grandfather passed also. And so I haven't seen him in a couple of years when I was back in Jamaica.
Mhm.
I wouldn't see him because he would be here, but he's doing very well. Thank God.
Good, 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 good.
Yes.
But yes. So now we've discussed a little bit about where you were born, childhood, teenage years, and then now after. So what happened after high school? How did you move on from? Well, I know you had to step up now and had to take care of your sister, knowing that now you're gonna have to have a closer relationship with your brother because now you get a message, so now that is now your responsibility. You feel now that spirit came to you, so you want to make sure that that is fulfilled. So how else did you manage life afterwards? What were the next steps that you took after high school?
Okay. Well, after high school, as I said, my mom died when I was in 10th grade. Um, you know that you do CXCs in the fifth grade, in fifth form. So
Mm-hmm.
um I decided that look, I need to be an example for my younger sister.
Mm.
Looking at me, I'm the role model. I have to do the best I can. Not
Yeah.
only for her, but I don't have a mother. I don't have a father. What am I going to do with my life? How am I going to
Mm.
navigate my life so I can be successful and provide for myself? I don't have anybody to lean on. It's just me against the world.
Well.
So I was very, what would you say now, slow in mathematics. And I didn't
Mm.
even know where I was going to get the money from to pay for my CXCs. But my grandfather was
Yeah.
there. And I, one summer he came and I started preparing him. I told him I had to just grow up overnight.
Mm-hmm.
I had to just grow up overnight and take charge of my life. And so
Yeah.
I prepare him from the summer. Normally you pay for CXC like October, November. And when he came in the summer, I told him of the CXCs, how much they would cost, because I had gone ahead, went to my teachers, found out how much it's going to cost and what. And I told him that, prepared him. I asked him for the money, told him how much it would cost. And he agreed, of course, and he sent it when it was time for me to pay my CXC. I had no issues with that. Thank God. God rest his soul.
Amen.
And I chose one of the, well, in that time, you have to do a practical area. And the practical area that I really wanted to do was food and nutrition. But for some reason, that area was full. As you know,
Mm.
food and nutrition and clothing and textile. Those areas
Textile.
always full. So they put me into electrical installation.
What?
Electrical installation and TD, which is technical drawing. That was the technical area I was forced into. Oh Lord.
And not a lot of females do that area.
No. Only a few of us in the class. Probably it was only 3 girls.
Yeah.
Most of boys. I tell you, I was doing well, especially in TD. I
Oh
was
wow.
I was doing well, but I hated it.
Mm.
I hated it. What happened when I decided I'm not going back to that class? I had a teacher who was always drunk who teach electrical installation. And that man came to class one day and gave me a live wire to touch.
Mm-mm.
I don't know what
Mm-mm.
was gonna just jerk me a little or just sting you a little or whatever. But I was afraid of electricity. And that was
Yeah.
the last day I went to class. The following day, when it was technical time,
Yeah.
went down to the food and nutrition lab. And I stood at the window And I decided that I wasn't going to leave until the teacher called me inside.
Until then put you in the classroom.
Kind of out of that window.
Mm-hmm.
The food and nutrition teacher name was Mrs. McLeod.
Okay, Mrs. McLeod, big up yourself.
Mrs. McLeod. To this day, she's still my role model. She's the one teacher that first influenced me, not by her telling me to become a teacher, but based on how she dealt with her students. I was so impressed with her. I decided that that's the teacher I want to become.
Yeah.
That's the teacher I want to become. She goes above and beyond for her students. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I stood at the window and she called me inside. I said, come in, come in. And I went inside and I never came out.
And from that day,
From that day, I started to ace every SBA, every
mm-hmm.
in her class. Other students started in 9th grade and I went there in 10th grade. And I was top. I topped all of that. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I was allowed to do it in CXE with the other subject areas that I had chosen. And I was successful. I was successful in all my CXE exams, sorry. From there, I decided, as I said, my teacher had influenced me and I decided that I was not going to teachers college. So when I graduated from 1996, I was 17 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I researched the different teachers colleges in Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
Found one in St. Elizabeth, Bethlehem Teachers College at the time. It's now Bethlehem Moravian College. And I sent them an application. That was the only college I wrote. I sent them an application when I was about to graduate from school.
Mm.
I don't know if it was too late or what, but I didn't get a response to say, yes, you're accepted, or no, we don't accept you, or what. I just didn't get a response.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided that, okay, I didn't get a response. I'm going to look at work and work out the year, and then I'll reapply
again
for the next school year.
Mm-hmm.
Try as I may, I could not get a job for the year.
Mm-mm.
So it's like God was speaking to me. And I said to myself, because as I said, I found a way to navigate my challenges and work them out by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said to myself, you know what? I'm just going to sleep for the rest of the year, because next year when I am accepted to college, it's going to be a non-stop thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I said to myself, not knowing that I was speaking it into being. And the next period comes around, I applied. And of course, when I went to the post office, I got a letter from Bethlehem Teachers College saying that I was accepted. Oh,
you were accepted. Yes.
I was 15 years old. I was accepted into Bethlehem Teachers College. Of course, I called my grandfather again, and I said to him, when he came this summer, I said to him again, I got accepted into college, and I'm going to be needing this and I'm going to be needing that and stuff like that. And of course, he sent the money again. I paid my first year, and I decided that Bethlehem, here I come. As I said, it was just me. I felt so accomplished and proud of myself. Although I was going to leave my little sister because, you can't travel back and forth. I was going to leave her, but she was of age now. She was like, what, 11, 12?
13.
Yes, yeah. And so, I spoke to her. I spoke to her. I tell her that, I'm going off to college. I'm going to make something of myself. And, that would be my first time leaving her.
Branching off on your own. Yeah. So I just want to stick a pin and just to commend you, Antoniki, especially after taking on TD class. Why TD wasn't very nice for me either, and just even just figuring out
Yeah.
going on to something else, figure because that was you realizing your self-worth, right? You realizing what you want and what you need, going to that class, standing ground until them take your in, and even after them take your in, you show yourself, say you show them, say I deserve this, I want this, you work towards it, especially after everything you face, because that was shy of like 2 years after the news where you hear where shift your life, and yet you still stand ground after all the adversities you face. You still try to find your self-worth and your self-esteem with all of this to progress yourself. Even if you do the CXCs, even where you realize that which area you're not strong in, which area you're strong in, and you work towards it, you seek help by going to your uncle for him to provide that financial support because you have the brain support already and
Yeah.
you did it, and you find a way, you sit down, you look for school, you apply, and you did what spoke to your heart. So I am so proud of you for still figuring it out and going towards the way of success and progress through everything where you go through. You still find a way to put yourself on top and to support everybody after you. You did a good job, Antoniki. You did a good job.
Thank you. Thank you. But through it all, fast forwarding just a little, through it all, I realized that it was God.
It was God all along. That is so true too.
Yeah, fast forwarding, I realized that.
It was all God. There's a lot that goes through this life. Even for me, remembering even high school. I can't really remember high school really. I don't know why, and it was just like a few years ago. But even me too, I struggled with self-worth and self-esteem. Like I could not see my life past 18 years old. Before I turned 18, those whole years, teenage years, I could not see myself past 18 years old. Like it's not like I didn't know if I was gonna die. I didn't know what was happening, but I could not see myself past 18. And no one knew of this. I couldn't see myself going to college. Everybody was talking about college, UE and UTech. I don't even know what is UE. What is UTech? I didn't even know what these schools stand for, like what the abbreviations were. And like even myself, I couldn't see myself being like a intelligent girl or a smart girl because even first form to third form, I was getting like bad grades. I was in the 30th. I was in the when report come out in the 20s, in the 30s, where so like boys would be in that back group, and I was there. And I'm like, what happened to my brain? I passed for the school. So what make my brain not work? I feel so bad. I just feel so ashamed because when I bring my report card, I value beat out the dum out of me. And it's like, no matter how I used to try and think, I could never get it. I could never get it. I used to stress out. I had to pray to God and say, God, make me pass that one, please. When the report card I come here, I say, pray to God. And I don't know, in fourth form, fifth form, I started picking back up. I started coming in the top 5. In sixth form, I came second, and I'm like, oh my God. I don't even know where the shift happened, where the change happened. I didn't see where my habits were changed. It's not like I used to go home and go study. Me, I tell you the honest truth. And I like them used to go to one, write over notes and study. And like I used to struggle with even finding myself as being like beautiful or pretty. Not even beautiful as it. Like even myself, look, I was pretty. It was something I really struggled with. And I don't know, teenage years is one of those vital parts of our life where we start to like try to figure out who we are and try to figure out where we stand and where we fit and what's going to help us to progress. So that is why I just want to say, like, I am proud of you for figuring that out, especially at that age, because at that time, me never know me I do, and I couldn't see anything for myself. And just for the facts that things were happening to you, left, right, and center, feeling neglected, as you spoke about self-worth, and yet you still try push through to make something of yourself, right? I am happy. I'm happy you took that route and you stand up for yourself and stand your ground. Yes, yes, yes. So after you went to to Bethlehem College, what was that experience like for you? Because now I know what inspired you. I'm sorry. Now I know what inspired and motivated you to become a teacher. So, like, what was that experience in college like for you now?
So it was a whole different world now. In those days, you had to do what is called a pre-college course. That means college would start in September, so you would have to go in like from a couple of weeks in August just to get familiar with the environment and stuff like that. And so others young ladies who are going into college. You know, pre-college is such a big thing. You're going into college now and everybody's proud of you. And so you see the vehicles coming in with their suitcases and stuff like that. And well, I took the bus. I took the bus from Culloden. I have never been to Bethlehem, Teachers College, Santa Cruz, none of that. I didn't know my way. My aunt, she had gone to that college, so she had an idea how to get there, and that was from probably in the 80s. So she had an idea how to get there, and so she told me how to get there. I took a bus from Culloden, right down the road there, so. She told me where to come off, so I came off there. When I came off, I saw one road going here, one road going there, and one going to Kingston. I didn't know what to do. I stood at the crossing and I looked and I looked and I looked. And then I saw another young lady. Looks like she's trying to figure out where to go to. So I went up to her. She came up to me and said, "Do you know where I can get a taxi to go to Bethlehem Teachers College?" And I said to her, "That's the same thing me I try go." And she said, "Really?" I said, "Yes." She was coming from St. Catherine. Yes, Spanish Town to be exact. And we figured it out together. That was August 1997. And today, how many years is that now?
27 years.
27 years later, we're still figuring out life together. That's what you call a friend. You
still know that lady.
We're in a group together. We talk like 60 times a day.
What a blessing. What a blessing.
Every day up until this day right here. I know if I go on my phone right now in my WhatsApp, there's a message from her.
What a blessing. Oh my gosh.
And we figured it out. We asked persons together and we got the taxi and we headed to Bethlehem Teachers College. And it was the start of a new adventure. That was the beginning of a new adventure. And so, you know, we did our pre-college course together. They made fun of us. They made us do all sort of stupid things. And, you know, just so they said they were rubbing us down, getting us to be humble. But we were already humble. I guess that wasn't for us. But, you know, you had to be a part of it. So you just went with what they're saying and stuff. Looking back at it now, we have to laugh at some of the things they did to us. But, you know, we survived and we went home again and got prepared now for the real thing, classes. And so, of course, you know my area that I'm going to do food and nutrition. So I did food and nutrition. She did the primary courses. But nevertheless, we're still together. Yes. So, yeah, so I did the food and nutrition course. You know, it was somewhat challenging at times, but it was in this period that I figured out that you weren't so, as Jamaicans would say, dunce as how people make you out to be. Yeah. Then that I could learn. I realized then that I was smart, that I was intelligent, you know? And
Yeah. But if you pass CXC, you're intelligent.
even,
But then again, you didn't know from then.
yeah, even that time, the self-esteem was so low. Even though I passed,
Mm-hmm.
I was still looking down at myself. I
Hmm.
didn't have that high self-esteem. I was always thinking that I was the least of
Hmm.
everything. I wasn't worth it. I was just there.
Hmm.
Even though I was telling myself that, look here, you can't afford to turn workplace. You can't afford to come go and have one whole bag of picnic and live in poverty and all of that. I
Yeah.
was against that. I
Mm-hmm.
tried to move away from that as much as I can. Right? I ran away from it. And I was determined to make something of myself. And it was in that time at Bethlehem I realizing that I was getting A's, I was getting B's, and I wasn't even too much studying. And
Okay.
really, and one of my roommates that she was doing the same course too. We again, she is another blessing in my life, Jasmine, and she's saying, Stacey, you get A and B. Suppose we did a study. I mean, we used to love cricket so much. When there's like, you used to have like test match cricket. I don't know if you remember that. And one
Yes,
day,
yes.
when we're supposed to be in class, if there's a test match or a one day, we room are watching, we know they're no class.
Because we're not a star.
We not even know so we are star. We just know so we love cricket and we're going to watch it cricket because we can't miss this cricket, especially when it come down to the end and everybody sit on the edge of their seat. Yeah. Watch man. But those girls were a blessing. Michelle and Jasmine, they were a blessing. They were a blessing.
Yes.
Still is.
Michelle and Jasmine. Big up Michelle and Jasmine.
And Jasmine, oh my God. Her family was from St. Elizabeth. She wasn't living too far from the college, but she decided that she's gonna live on campus. And
Mm-hmm.
so her community is like probably 2-3 miles away from the college. And her family took us in. I tell you, up until this day, Jasmine's mom is like, well, I call her mommy. I call mommy Mimi. I called her mommy. She took us in. It was a farming community. You know that most of St. Elizabeth is farming.
Just farming.
So at the time, her mom was working in an area called Seaview. I think she was taking some care of some elderly persons there, and they died. And so the family decided, she can live in the house. And so Jasmine has a brother, and the brother, they live on a big farm. So the brother used to farm like cantaloupes and melons and stuff like that.
Mm.
And Jasmine used to take us home for weekends. We used to go to mommy. And one day, Andrew that's the name of the brother, reaping melons and cantaloupe. Oh my God. And we went there and we decided we were going to help him to take the melons and the cantaloupe out of the field. It was so much fun. And so much melon and cantaloupe to eat in my life. We ate until our face was so sticky. And when they're like, oh, we have to go to the market and buy, was the first time I had broccoli and cauliflower. Straight
Wow.
garden, fresh. Scallion, straight from the garden. Thyme,
Garden.
straight from the garden. Carrots, straight from the garden. I mean, you're going to cook and you're pulling them out of the ground to cook.
Ground.
They're not in the refrigerator or anything like that. Fresh produce.
Fresh.
Fresh produce right from the ground. And
Wow.
enjoyed it so much, mommy would cook for us and she can cook. Oh my God. Broccoli and cauliflower with cheese and salt fish and
Oh wow.
she used
Wow, that's the life that I want to live though. Go outside and pick the food and bring it in.
so
But that's nice.
yes,
That's nice.
she took us in. So Jasmine used to take home me and Michelle and, about two other girls. Yes, but me and Michelle were always there, always there, always there. We wouldn't miss a visit and Jasmine wouldn't leave us. And so we became close, we bonded, and they made college life, what would you say now?
Like livable, breathable. It was comfortable. It made it more comfortable.
Ever. Even though we were going through our separate challenges and stuff like that, we were there for each other and we encouraged each other on, and we were just there. I remember that one weekend I didn't go home with Jasmine. I don't remember why. Neither did Michelle. And Michelle was living in a different dorm from myself and Jasmine. I was living in a dorm that is close to a cemetery. And Jasmine went home. I had another two roommates. They went home too. So it was just me alone left in the room beside the cemetery. I didn't know that Michelle didn't go home. And so she knew I was in my hostel. So she decided that she's coming up to spend the weekend with me because I was alone in the room. I guess she was alone in her room too. So she decided to come. I went to bed, and when I came out, we had some big walk-in closets in the dorm rooms. When I came out of the shower, I heard a little rattling in the closet. And I was like, almost everybody's gone home in the dorm. I'm in there practically by myself.
By myself.
And when I opened the door, I saw two big eyes looking up at me. And I went into fight mode, flight. Whatever it is that was looking up at me.
God.
Turns out that it was Michelle.
You licked poor Michelle.
Beat her so badly, that closet. When she came out, she had to roll on her side to come out of the closet. I heard her screaming. I heard her saying, "It's Michelle, it's me, it's Michelle, Stacey, it's me."
But your brain, I hear it.
But my hands were still going.
Oh my God.
That poor girl.
Oh, poor Michelle.
Those are some of the fun times we had. Yeah, it was. Yeah, so 3 years. I did 3 years at Bethlehem. And of course, we all graduated with our diplomas, ready to be teachers now. Went on teaching practice, did our 3 months or 4 months of teaching practice, passed all our courses and stuff like that. And we graduated the year 2000. We graduated the year 2000. And we started life. Life outside the walls of Bethlehem was very different. Yeah, I remember the vice principal telling us that, you're going to be sorry when you leave Bethlehem. We're saying, sorry? We want to leave. They said, young but no storm.
Yes.
Were we sorry?
Oh my gosh.
Because now the real world is coming at us.
It's coming
at us.
That stage of adulthood is now hitting you.
Yeah, so that was the start. Year 2000, June 2000, we graduated Bethlehem. And we went our separate ways. Jasmine stayed in St. Elizabeth. Michelle went back to Portmore. I came back to Westmoreland.
Well then.
Yeah, we still managed to keep the bond up until today, as I said.
Yeah, we're still keep in touch.
Yeah.
Wow, that's very nice.
More than in touch.
That is very nice. So what was adulthood for life for you? I know you said it's very different, but what about it was different from the life and the path that you've trodden before?
Now we came out and we were applying for jobs and stuff like that. I applied to Godfrey Stewart. That was my first job leaving college. I got an eight months position at Godfrey Stewart, teaching food and nutrition.
That's the high school, right? Because Godfrey Stewart don't have a primary school, right? It's just a high school. Okay.
Right. Yes. And so I was a little teeny weeny. I was like much smaller than now. A little teeny weeny. And man, it was a good experience. Got myself ready. Went to do my interview. Passed my interview. Went to work there. Was working for another lady who was on 8 months leave. And that was for 8 months. So I worked from September through to April.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, from September through to April. And then I applied again when I had finished with Godfrey Stewart. I applied again and I got a position closer to home in Beeston Spring. It was a primary school. Even though I was a secondary trained teacher,
yeah,
I got a position in a primary school again. Thought I couldn't manage because I wasn't trained to deal with these little babies. Grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. And again, I aced it. I stayed at that school for the next 19 years.
What grade were you teaching there?
When I started, I taught grade 2.
That's like 6 or 7 year old.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 6 to 7 years old. Yeah. And I taught that grade for about probably 10 years. Yeah, for about 10 years. And then they wanted me to teach grade 3. I taught that for the rest of the years there. Throughout that journey, I was like the JTA, that's the Teachers Association for Jamaica. I was the contact teachers for more than a decade there. Meaning whatever correspondence the president of the Jamaica Teachers Association have, it would go through me. I would have to do training. If there's any issues with teachers being treated unfairly or anything like that, that would also go through me. They would come to me and I would respond, take the queries to the JTA and back and forth and stuff like that. As it says, contact. So I am the contact person for salary negotiations. When there's time for voting of the new president, I had to conduct that election and all of that. I had to go to meetings. I had to train my staff about what is coming up, the different teaching strategies, all of that responsibilities. I took on at that age.
You had big responsibilities.
Yes, I did.
Had a big responsibility.
I really learned a lot at Salem.
Yes.
It taught me the good, it taught me the bad, it taught me everything. It taught me what I should be, what I should not be. A lot of experience.
Yes. So I assume during that time you started to have children.
Oh yes.
Don't forget the children now. Rihanna and Johnny will be upset if you don't remember them, you know.
I started teaching at Salem in September of 2001.
And by the way, you're very good with dates. Oh my gosh, you're very good with dates.
Yeah, thank you. September 2001. And I got pregnant with my first child of that very same year in December. September, October, November, December. Imagine you're fresh on the job and you're now pregnant.
Don't.
That one hit me out. I wasn't ready for a child. I
Mm.
just started to enjoy my little freedom, my life. And there comes the baby. Of course, I said to God, God, I will bring this child here, but after that, you have to take over because I know nothing of raising a child right now.
Yeah.
I
Mm.
had my baby in August 9th. And, the journey, going through pregnancy, as I said, my self esteem was really low. And my
Even
mom,
at that time, even after having the baby and everything.
even during my pregnancy, at
Hmm.
first I was, what would you say, ashamed. I was hiding. I didn't
Hmm.
went to the public clinics. I went to a private doctor, Dr. Nepal, and because at the time I could afford it. I could afford it because it was just
You
me.
are working.
I was working. So yes, I could afford it. And I had health insurance too, because that's one of the things you get when you're a teacher. You sign up
Teacher.
for it. I signed up for mine very early. I don't know about anybody else because it's like I was always ahead. I was always on the ball. I knew
Mm-hmm.
what I wanted and I went for it. And so I had my insurance, and so I decided that I'm gonna go to a private doctor. Person started carrying news about me, and some were true, some were not true. And I'm saying, where where is my aunt getting this information from?
Mm-hmm.
And it was hard at first, but then I got into it and I said, you know what? This is my life. I'm gonna live my life how I want to live my life, regardless of what anybody wants to say or carry news or whatever. This is my life and I'm gonna make the best of it. And so I went to my doctor, got the best care for my baby and stuff like that. Delivery, whew, that almost took me out.
Mm-mm.
Almost took me out. I went into labor. I didn't even know I was in labor. Independence Day, the 6th of August. I woke up. I started having nausea. I started vomiting diarrhea for the entire day. While
Mm.
everybody was going to the beach. You know how independence
Yeah.
celebration.
I
I
got to
was
some of you.
I spent it in the bathroom.
Uh-oh.
I didn't know it was the first sign of labor. I was
Yeah.
just 21, 22. I didn't know it was the first sign of labor. And then when it got on to later in the day, in the night, water broke. Went to the hospital and I labored there and I labored and I labored and I labored. The 7th, baby. 8th,
No, baby.
the 9th, in the morning when the nurses were changing shifts, I said to the nurse that was coming in, I'm not going to make it through today. I'm going to die.
Oh no.
So I wouldn't dilate. You're supposed to go up to 10 centimeters. When I went to 4 and back down to 1. And I
Oh.
and I asked at the time my baby father, I said, take me to another hospital so I can get a C-section. Take me to another hospital. It was pain, 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 natty, pain, 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 pain. Until the nurse said, okay, I'm going to give you some injections. And she started to inject me. That was like minutes after 7 Friday morning. And by 12 midday, I gave birth to my daughter. Even when I was pushing, they were still injecting me because I didn't have the strength. I hadn't eaten for so many days because I didn't have any appetite. I was just throwing up.
Yeah, you're
And
probably dehydrated because you lost all of that fluid.
exactly. And thank God I made it through. When she was born, she was not breathing properly.
Hmm.
They had to be there slapping her for a good couple of seconds first before I heard her cry. And then they told me that they had to take her to somewhere because she wasn't breathing properly and give her, I don't know if they gave her oxygen or what, but it was like probably 15, 20 minutes after I went back to my room, they took her to me. She was fine, thank God. 5 pounds 9 ounces, really small baby.
A beautiful baby too, and she's a beautiful, beautiful grown adult this day.
Thank you. That was what you would call my first blessing. Oh my God.
Aww, look at Rihanna.
I don't know how I would manage life without her, even today.
She has grown so much, and I can see how she is going to be such a support to you,
Oh,
and you a support to her. I can see it.
just the she's just a go-getter. Nothing
Yes.
stops her. Nothing she's always just pushing, just pushing, just pushing.
From a long time.
Yeah, she's so small and yet so strong.
Yes, that's what I said to her. Like, you have such a big personality. You would think you're taller, but you're so short.
Listening.
Oh wow.
She's like a lion.
Yeah, I'm proud of her. I'm very, very proud of her. She is a beautiful person today. Well, she always was a beautiful person, but I love how she's glowed throughout the years. And thanks to you too. You played a very, very I trust me, I know the role you played with her growing up. So you were there to help to structure her to where she is today. And I'm sure she appreciates it. Yes, yes, yes.
Until
Yes.
this day when I'm like, Rihanna, we're saying, she's always saying, Mommy, you always say I should this and I should that, and you're not doing it, Miss Ari, because it's your turn now. I've trained you well. Even the ATM, I would each time I'm going to the ATM, I would say, Rihanna, how to do this again? And she was like, Mommy, you show me how to use ATM. So how long we asking how to use ATM?
Oh gosh.
I always try to push her. I always try to, give her new experiences, make sure she's rounded, a
Yeah,
rounded.
she's well rounded. Yes.
Because I lost my mother when I was very young.
Young.
I was not prepared for life. So I guess that's what's in the back of my mind now to, just push her to make sure she's prepared, that she can live without me. Right?
Yes.
Because I was just, as I said, I grew up overnight. I was forced to grow up overnight. I wasn't prepared sort of way. I was still sheltered. I didn't have experience. I didn't go anywhere. I couldn't function in society. So I guess that's the driving factor for me now to push her out there and show her how to do things, how to get around, and how to basically survive if I am not there.
Yes, yes, yes.
So it's really difficult, I tell you, to go without a mother like that.
That is true. And I also want to commend you again for realizing that that was a need for you then and providing that need to her, because sometimes persons are like, me never get it, so what me I give for? And it's good that you don't have that mentality to show her and reassure and provide her with that that independence, right? As you said, just in case you're not available in that moment, in that time, or whatever it is. So yes, I must commend you for that. Yes, yes, yes. So I want to ask you now a few questions, a few structured questions, because we've been going with the motions and everything. And I really enjoyed this conversation so far, right? So I want to ask you, there's a few questions that I have here. So how do you define being an every woman? What does that mean to you personally? Because what does that mean to you? Because the name of the show, the name of the podcast is called I'm Every Woman. So what does I'm every woman mean to you?
I'm every woman. What does that mean to me? Oh, it means that regardless of what others might think about you, you have to know yourself. You your strengths have
Mm.
weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know what works for you. Yes, it's good to listen to advice from others, but at the end of the day, one shoe doesn't fit all. So you have to know yourself, examine yourself, and know what will work for Natisha, what work for Nikki. Not what works for Natalie will work for Natisha, not what works for Nikki will work for Natisha. Right? Because nothing
Mm-hmm.
is cast in stone. So you have to know you have to take time to examine yourself and know who am I?
Mm.
What is my purpose here? How do I navigate my life? Do I structure it after what I've seen happening around me, or do I want to take a different path? It's all
Mm-hmm.
up to you. The opportunity is there for you, and then you have to go towards what you believe in yourself. Be true to you. At the end of the day, be true to you.
You.
Be who you want to be. And with God, you can be that.
Amen. Thank you.
With
I feel
God,
like you're talking to me, so thank you. Amen.
you can be that. Just be true to yourself.
Yes, yes, yes.
Just be
Thank
true
you.
to yourself.
Yes. All right. Thank you for your response. I really appreciated that. Yes. It added something to my own definition of what I think it is. So I also want to ask you, how has your understanding of womanhood evolved over time? Looking back from where you're coming from to who you are now. How has that evolved to shape who you are, womanhood?
All right. So I've gone through a lot of different experiences, both vicariously and what I've gone through, one of what I've experienced individually. And putting those two together has shaped me into the person I am today. A lot of things are going to happen to you in life, both negative and positive. What you have to do in each of those situations is take from it. It
Mm,
doesn't matter if it's negative, take from it. Decide, is this the person I want to be?
mm,
Or is this the person I'm going to shun? I don't want to be that person.
mm-hmm,
You have to decide, which path am I going to take? Right? Are you going to be bitter in life every day?
mm,
Because there are certain experiences that you're going to go through that you're going to say,
mm-hmm,
you know what?
mm-hmm.
I'm going to be outraged. I'm going to be angry. I'm going to be pissed. And it's perfectly normal to feel that way.
Those ways. Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's perfectly normal because we're all human beings and we all hurt.
But
Right?
managing the emotions is what gets you
You
through.
have to navigate your emotions. Make sure at the end of the day you are the winner.
Mm.
You're a victor, not a victim. A lot of things I've
Preach.
gone through, both family, in my marriage, in my workplace, and I have chosen to, take the positives from it. There's a say that when life gives you lemons, you make
Create
lemonade,
lemonade. Yes.
right?
Amen.
So there's a lot of
Mhm.
stuff I've gone through, even in my marriage with my husband. I could have stayed bitter. I could have stayed vengeful. But what? Pray about it. Ask
Yes.
for guidance. If you realize you can't do it on your own, which most times you can't,
Cannot. Just ask for help.
ask the Lord to help you. And I mean, I've reached a stage now, as I said, I don't know if you're aware of some of the stuff I went through in my marriage, but I considered myself to be treated unfairly. I was treated really unfairly. And at one
Yes.
point, of course, I was bitter, I was outraged, I was mad, I was angry, I was just spitting fire.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I had to get myself together. Who is this benefiting?
Mm.
Yeah, I'm bitter and angry. Who is this benefiting? It's not benefiting me. It's not good for my health. it's not benefiting my children because
Mm-hmm.
they're seeing the person that I don't want them to know me as, to
To be
remember me as this bitter woman who is always yapping and shouting, and I don't want that for. That's not the
your
reflection.
children, and that can negatively impact them as well. So just to stick a pin. So no, those things probably I wasn't aware of because at that time I was young, so I was like I wasn't picking the business time there. So I wasn't a part of that information. But that's one of the things that we never spoke about throughout this whole session. So we've spoken about life, we've spoken about adulthood, but we never got into the phase of relationship and getting into marriage, boyfriends, and so forth. So I'm just gonna take you back a little bit
Yeah.
of to how your dating life started. Not how your marriage started, how your dating life started.
Well, I didn't date much because, as I said, I wasn't allowed to go anywhere when I was growing up. Other
Mm-hmm.
teenagers, they were allowed to, like, apart from going, like Christmas Eve night, you go and you walk and stuff like that. That was
Mm-hmm.
basically my be it all end all in freedom. Whereas I couldn't go to my friend's house. I couldn't go to like parties and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that, club and all of that thing. I had to stay home. So I didn't have much of a dating life. What had happened is, towards the end of my college years, I met my now ex-husband. And I I was young and I was very much in love with him. Oh my God, very much in love. And that's where everything started. So I didn't have much of a dating life. After my daughter was born, about a year after I got married at 24 years old, I got
Mm-hmm.
married, yes. And I was just living my life with my little family. It was like, so that I never had that. The next thing I wanted is, remember I told you I didn't have a father figure in my. I didn't have a father. I had father figure.
Yes.
I didn't have a father. Father was like a word I see in the books. Yeah. So I wanted my children to
To
have
have a father
father, not just the name, but somebody who is actually there for them.
active in their life, making an impact as well.
And so when I got married, we lived together for all of the
Right.
years, up until the last 3 years. And we were there navigating life together and stuff like that, and things just started going south. I tried, in all of this, I prayed and I tried my best to work on my marriage to be a good wife. Sometimes I end up losing myself
Mm.
to be what you would say, to create this
Trying to be a good woman to everyone but yourself.
good family structure and stuff like that. But in the end, it was the wrong thing for me. I ended up getting hurt. And, I had to try and figure out now, no, I'm getting older. Is this the life I really want for myself?
Yeah.
Is this the life I want my children to be in? Seeing their mother like this, seeing their father like this? Is that really what I want? And I started to examine myself when I stepped back. And I realized that I was holding on to something that wasn't meant to be.
That wasn't yours.
I decided that, you know what? I'm getting older. This is not going anywhere. I can't see happiness down the road.
You're losing yourself.
I'm losing myself. And that was one of the deciding factors that helped me to say, you know what? It's time for you to start choosing you. It's
Because you've
time.
always been choosing you before. Well, a few years before, you've been choosing you from that day you stand up outside that room to get into the food class. You are choose you. So now afterwards, no. I feel like with women overall, I don't know. I feel like based on history and how we were raised and the information that we received, we give ourselves so much and we accept so little. And we try to multiply and build upon this little piece of thing what we receive. So till we're so manipulated and we're so delusional that we don't even realize that we have nothing to work on. It's like getting zero and multiplying by zero. Zero.
So
So
the family life was like, you have your husband, you're in church, and that's
mhm,
life. But behind closed doors,
it wasn't perfect. It was
yeah,
a
it
struggle.
wasn't even a struggle, it was hell.
Oh Jesus.
It was hell. And Natisha, I don't know if you know this, but at one point, I reached this stage where I just really wanted to end my life.
Oh God.
It was Uncle Dwayne, and he can tell you. I just, probably it was like 12 o'clock at night. I just started walking down red dirt. You know where I'm talking. And Dwayne was coming home from work.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, Nikki, where you go? And
Yeah.
saying that, because it was 11:30, 12. You know what time Dwayne comes off at work?
Yeah, come on late, yeah.
Very late. And I was just walking down the road. I was just going to walk across the road.
Jesus Christ.
And he said, Nikki, where you go? And I didn't even respond to him. I just kept on walking. And I remember when I was pulled back, just hold me and drop me back straight.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when I came to my senses. And I'm like, let me just go. Let me really just go. And this is what I'm saying to myself. You know what it is like to live without a mother, and you're going to subject your children to that?
It's just all the stress you were facing and didn't even realize.
And I decided that, you know what, this is it. I have to choose me now. I have to choose my children. And I decided to leave my.
Mm-hmm.
And persons were saying everything was going on and going on and going on. And persons were saying to me, why don't you leave? Why don't you leave? Why don't you leave? And I'm saying, I'm not just going to jump and get out of my marriage. I'm going to try and work on it. Because the day I decide to leave, I should not have any regrets. I should not
Mm-hmm.
say, well, I could try that. I could have tried
So I could have done this a better. Or
better. So we should have tried that. At the end of the day, I wanted my conscience to be
clear.
to be free. And I
Mm-hmm.
was there for more than 10 years, Natisha, and tried. For more than 10 years, I tried and tried. And it wasn't working. So at the end
It's a
of it,
long time to try.
I said, okay, I don't see anything that anybody can say to me now and say, all right, did you try this? Did you try that? Because I've tried it all. And that's when I decided to move. Just let it go. Just
Yeah.
let it. And that's what I did. And again, I had to start rebuilding myself again. I was back at factory setting. The day when my divorce was final and I went before the judge, and the judge asked me, do you want to retain your maiden name and take off the married name? And I said, yes. And it just struck me like, just like a phone, when you buy a phone and you are doing all these things with it, and then you just hit a button and it goes back to factory reset.
Yeah.
That's how I felt. I'm back at factory reset. I'm by myself now, no husband, with my 2 kids navigating life.
In life.
And I felt so ashamed.
Hmm.
And that's why I decided, I needed a new environment.
Hmm.
Because there were very few persons around me I could trust at this time. Persons in my church, I couldn't trust anybody there. To be honest, I found a way, but I couldn't trust anybody at church because of what happened during that time. And I tried to confide in persons, and it went south. My
Yeah.
on the streets and everything, and persons were talking behind my back. And on top of the hurt I was going through at home, that was hurting too, because
It was a lot, too much.
yeah. So I decided that, you know what, I just need a new environment.
Yeah.
It feels
Start
like
over, fresh, something new, different year.
I felt like I was going crazy, and persons wouldn't even know. Persons wouldn't even know that I was like a prisoner inside my own body.
Mm.
I felt that there was no hope or anything. And so I started to plot my way out
Mm-hmm.
after I decided that I wanted a divorce. And the first thing I did was I packed my husband and I sent him on his way. Yeah. Packed him and I said, have a good life, have a great life. But this is where it ends. And he looked at
Mm.
I remember when I gave him a brown envelope, which is birth certificate and passport and everything, and I packed his suitcase. And he looked at me and said, "You're serious?" And I said, "Yes." I said, "We'll make life. We'll be." And I was there for a year and a couple months. And I was saying, what am I going to do with me? It's time for me to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
Time for me to get back myself. Again, myself during all this marital struggle, my self esteem went back to zero.
Mm.
And I know I wasn't a zero, but I
Yeah.
kept thinking I was a zero. And so I knew my worth. I knew what I represented and stuff like that. And, I had support. Navali was one of those support systems along with Michelle and Jasmine, Miss Vi and Sister Ro. Those were, yeah, I could count the few persons. Miss Vi, Navali, Michelle, Jasmine, Sister Ro. Those were the five persons I could, you know, say confide in. And I know that my business wouldn't be on the streets. I know that persons
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't be judging me or, talking bad things or stuff like that. And so I decided that I need a new environment. I need somewhere to start afresh. I need somewhere to. And I started plotting my way out. And today I can say it has been a struggle, but
Mm-hmm.
I would have done it again.
Yeah, because you feel more at peace, more at ease. That stress is not weighing on your heart, on your
No,
chest anymore.
it's, it's like it has reached a point where I have forgiven my ex-husband. It's like he never do anything to me.
Hmm.
Has
Oof.
reached a point where we can now talk about we have a better relationship now than when we were married. I can tell you that.
So
We
it
have
just wasn't meant to be in that for
in that
both of you.
way. Because even now when I feel sad or discouraged or stuff like that, I can always call him and he's encouraging me. And the same words that I told him when we were going through our marital stress, he's bringing it back to me now. I say, remember, you tell me this and you tell me that, you tell me that. No, it's time to take those advice that you were giving me and apply it.
Yeah, because there was love there before, There was love why both of you decided to join to become one. There's so much you've said that I want to touch and just go into just to have more understanding from me as a woman and for other women out there. Right? Going back to low self-esteem that a lot of us, especially of Jamaican women, have to deal with growing up because we don't get that reassurance or confirmation as young females that you're beautiful, you're smart, you're courageous, you're kind, you can do it, you can go and explore the world. Don't be scared. Don't when you walk, hold on your head, you are a star, right? A lot of us don't get that. And because we have to explore it on our own, it takes a lot more longer versus if we were introduced to it from the start. So I want to ask you something very important too. You mentioned that you were having some self-esteem issues even while in the relationship, but then even after you have a child, you got married. Do you feel like one of the reasons too that you stayed into the relationship was because you wanted someone to be a father to your to your children? You wanted to have that father in the household. So you feel like that was a sacrifice that you made too. That's why you stayed so long as well.
Yes, yes. Because a few years later, because after having my daughter, and as I said, initially persons were just, I was being put down for getting pregnant. And at one point, I was even told that the principal should fire me since I got so pregnant so early after starting that
As you get to the job.
yeah. And then um I decided to have my son
Mm-hmm.
because Rihanna would what you call was a surprise, not a mistake, was a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
And so I decided then that I wanted to feel what it's like to actually have a child, try to have a child and actually having a child. And
Child.
that's when my son was born, right? He wasn't a surprise. We tried and tried and tried and tried until Ajani was born. And so I decided when all of the my marriage started going south, I decided I'm gonna stay because I wanted this father. I wanted them to know their father.
Father, to have a father figure.
I wanted family, a family, something that I really did not have like that. Right? I wanted that for my children, for them to grow up in a household where there's mommy and where there's daddy, and the perfect little family structure. I wanted that for my kids. And so even Rihanna wasn't, when she was younger, she did not understand then that you could be siblings and don't have the same mother or the same father. Because what she was surrounded with was families all over. If she goes over to Auntie Nav, it's
Yeah, yeah.
Auntie Nav and Uncle Dwayne. It's a read there. Miss Vi's the same thing. If she goes to any of my church sisters' houses, it's the same thing. So she was like in this little bubble where it was all right. It's all
Mommy
peaches
and daddy.
and daddy everywhere and stuff like that. So I wanted the same for her. And of
Yeah.
course, for a couple of years, that was the situation. And Ajani, the same thing, I wanted that for him. But, I held on as long as I could. Brianna was coming of age. She was realizing what was going on. And let me tell you something. Staying in unhappy, staying in an unhappy marriage is not the best for your kids.
Mm-mm. You better you leave because you think you're doing them a favor. You are not.
You are not. I learned that from Rihanna. She said,
Mm.
I didn't know what was going on. When I told her that I'm getting a divorce, she said I took too long.
Oh,
But
Jesus.
she's left with the hurt and everything that took place there because she knew what was going on. And I did not realize.
Yeah, you think so them still naive to everything we are going.
Yeah,
But children are smart.
they are smart and they can figure out stuff. And they
Yeah.
hear and see stuff that you wouldn't think that they're seeing and hearing. So I
Them
can
see the signs.
body today. Do not stay in an unhappy marriage
Relation.
because you think you're doing your children a favor. You're not
Fever.
doing that. Nope.
And another question to this point is: you feel like when you were growing up, did you witness other families, other married families? I know you mentioned you live with your uncles and aunts. Did you
Never.
see any other marriages?
No, that was a thing. And that's why I yearn for that. Because
Mm-hmm.
that didn't exist around me. Right? And that's
Yeah.
the structure I wanted. That's the life I wanted. And so I went for it. But
And even to say this as well, not to pick on you, but a lot of times in life something that we deem as good, like a marriage, we would say a marriage is good because it's, oh, fornication is wrong, having a child out of wedlock is wrong. But it's one of those things like, who prepares us to go into that role? Because this is a different type of life now, where you're living with someone, you're devoted to someone, you're putting someone first as a priority, right? Not saying you don't come first as well, but they're now a priority next to you. Who taught you now? Who's giving you these lessons growing up of how to navigate this life under this one roof with this man and now having children? No one. No one really is teaching you how to be a wife or anything, how to cater to your husband, how to cater to your children. All we see is what is around us. And because we think that marriage is good and we should jump into this, we're gone in it not knowing how to process this or how to work it. It's similar to like, oh, saying you want to get rich. Then when you get the money, you don't even know what to do with it because you've never had money before. Then it just disappears. So it's the same thing. We see something that we believe is good. We jump into it without even having an experience or knowing how to navigate this life. And then now we falter because we did not know what to do. And even something I've realized in myself, never been married, right? But I was in the stage where I was thinking about marriage and thinking about womanhood and entering into that phase of womanhood, right? Because I would still consider myself to be a young lady into a few more years, turning into a woman, right? And I remember going through these struggles that I had in my past relationship of trying to get everything done, trying to cook, trying to clean, trying to cater, trying to keep up with my health. And when I said Anthony, it was a struggle.
Yeah.
It was a struggle. I didn't even have a child. And I remember I turned to a friend and I was asking, like, how woman do it? Like, how woman have pitney and come home to pitney after work? How to wash and clean and keep up? How to do this and how to do that? And then to realize they too were struggling.
Yeah.
I thought women were, because I thought growing up to like what I can remember, I don't know for some reason why I can't really remember some of my past, but I'm like, I don't really remember seeing like my sister a struggle for like keep up with like hostings or probably like keep up with children or all and something or like keep up with the chores and everything. So me so like, why me can't do it? Right? And then I'm thinking of even other women. I'm like, my mother cook, my mother clean, my mother still take care of it, mother still go work and all of them something. Yeah. But then still then it comes back, she used to complain all the day, all the time. Then used to complain all the time. And then realizing too, even that partner that I did have wasn't for me because even when I expressed things multiple times, because it wasn't like I was sitting down and just I said, oh my God. I've expressed to them multiple times of things that I could manage, things that I needed assistance with, things that I needed and it was not provided. So we have to, even as females, it is very important for us to know our worth. I think that is very important because if we don't know our worth, and when someone comes into our life, anyone, either a child or another man or female, whoever it is, we fall for anything and we get so stuck. And we get stuck too because we want to present that we are it. We want to present this face that we are navigating it, we're living this happy life. And that is one of the, and even with the church too, as you mentioned, when you said the church, there was no one you could confide in. And I felt so sad because these are the same people who are encouraging you to get married, right? Don't have pitney without whatever. And like, yet you cannot go to them and they too, best trust and believe they are living in misery. They too don't even know how to navigate lives themselves, right? Just as women, we need to always put ourselves first and find our worth and know what is for us, as you said. What is for you can't unfeel. Always finding your worth. No matter what age it is, you see, once you find it, no matter how many years it take you, just know so you did find it and you have to be proud of when you do find it. It may take some time, but find it and keep it and continue with life. Yeah.
We as women, we go through a lot. We
We
endure.
go through a lot. We endure and take a lot. It's very unfortunate. And I feel like I can't even blame those who came before me because they go off the knowledge that they had, right? They go off the knowledge and the training and how they think it is best to raise their child or what to pass down to a child. Because when you're growing up, persons don't normally talk about sex in the house, talk about periods in the house, talk about boyfriends in the house, talking about, okay, when you start to date or if you should date. And that's another question I always want to ask you too. Like, do you feel like you would have done a better job in your marriage if you dated more before stepping into a marriage? Because now you would have that experience of dating and how to work around a relationship versus now, literally, this is your first one jumping in.
Yes. I think so, because then you would have a chance to, you know, look at the different red flags and the different signs that were there. You know, I guess you just jump into something and you say, all right, I'm in love and this is it. You didn't have a chance to experience other persons, to see, you know, what other persons represent, and, you know, the different options that were out there to make the best one. You just jumped at the first one and you say, all right, this is it, and this is me, this is my life now, this is the be all end all, and there I'm gonna be happy. And it's far from it. It's far from
Yeah.
it. In retrospect now, it's really, really far from it.
Yeah. And also to give ourselves more grace, because sometimes even though sometimes we don't know our worth, that doesn't mean that we should be treated like crap, right? Because we're not sure of who we are. That still not justifies someone treating us like we're low level. But still just giving ourselves grace for not knowing in the moment, because we're only working off the information that we have. That is it, we're only working off what we have and what we know in the moment until it is introduced to us and we say, this is for me, and we work towards it, then we try to get better. But in the moment, we're only working off the information that we have. So give yourself grace all the time.
Not be
Yes.
hard on yourself. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
You know, sometimes we're being too hard on ourselves, and we're just working on what we're given, the information that
Mm-hmm.
we. So
Yeah.
men go through a lot of stuff. We're strong beings. We're
Very
strong.
strong. Very strong. As what you mentioned, like a lot of those things, like that stress. You see, really, look, one of the worst stress I can face, me personally, the worst stress I could ever go through a relationship stress. Me always tell nobody, say that a one stress me can't manage. You see, even the moment I start stressing, me have to let it go. Cause me know so me can't. That will make me drop down. Me have to let you go from the moment you start stress me, and there is no resolution. You got to go, right?
But it
So
is quite different in a marriage, because, you know, in a marriage, you don't want
yes, that is true.
it, you don't want to get a divorce so early, because I tell you, divorce is, it's not just the physical aspect, but it also has a mental aspect
And
to
the
it.
emotional aspect.
Yes, the emotional aspect. I mean, even because I was married for like what 20 something years, and to say that person is no longer in your life, period. That person
Mm-hmm.
is no longer there. It is just you.
Yeah, and I know I said I just want to take back what I just said. I said like it's in my marriage is different, and I said true. But I want to ask like why I don't want to make it sound like I'm asking a foolish question, but why would it be so difficult to leave? I understand marriage is a bond, but like if you're suffering, it is a relationship, yes, and it is different from like a boyfriend or a girlfriend relationship or someone dating. But why is it that we make it so difficult to leave if we realize that we've tried so hard and we're holding on to something that basically we're holding on to air, holding on to black air, black dust, black smoke, something that is not good for us every time we inhale it? Is it that we are trying to keep up fierce? We are trying to keep fierce because, oh, we're gonna feel bad to say, oh, some and him there together and we have this a pitney and the pitney young. But fierce no matter. If
It has
especially if you go ahead.
so many different levels to it. One, it has the church aspect of it, because in a marriage, you're not expected to get divorced when it comes to
Divorce.
one. You have another societal aspect of it, where this is the person that you're with. as it says, it comes down to embarrassment and shame. This is the life that you have been living. Children is another aspect of it again. This child will not be with the mother or the father again. It will be torn, right? So we have to navigate in the different spaces. All right, you can go see your father, you can go see your mother, and sometimes it has an emotional aspect on the children as well. I mean, there's so many different levels and complications to it. The mental aspect of it, where you say, "This is my person. I'm used to this person over the years," where it comes on to intimacy. I'm used to this person. Now I'll have to go and get used to another person. If I'm gonna date, I'll have to go get used to another person again. I'll have to learn their ways. I have to learn their habits. They have to learn mine. We're going to we have to navigate in our feelings, getting to know each other again. It's like you have to start over.
And that can seem like it's gonna be exhausting.
It is exhausting. You have to start over. You have to getting used to their families.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Especially when you've been together for a couple of years and you're comfortable now. Yes, I know his mother, I know his father, I know his sister, I know his
sister, and his brother.
They operate and stuff like this. Then all of a sudden that is thrown to the window. And here comes another family. You have to get used to this man again. You get used to his family, his ways, his habits, everything. It's really, and that's why we as women we sit in these situations for so long, because start over again, it's really toxic. It's really hard. It's really exhausting. It's a lot to start over again with a new person.
And I feel like also, I just forget the word. Also, we feel like maybe we have failed, right? And we don't want to admit failure to anyone, an embarrassment. But and I would say to this point, because I personally don't believe what I've learned. No, I personally don't believe I should ever stand for anything less than what I see that I'm worth in the moment, or what I deem is true for me. And how I get up and how I leave, not care nobody wants to say. My mother could never tell me to stay. My father could never tell me to stay. Mother couldn't tell me to leave, father couldn't tell me to leave. Nobody, my sister, brother, nobody could tell me to stay. You see, once if I see that something is not right for me moving forward, and me already talked to God and God has shown me the sign, and I've asked for clarity, and I've spoken a specific prayer with specific words to him, and I make sure that my statement is clear. I'm not asking a rumbo dumbo jumbo. I am asking for clarity in the moment, and if he has provided that to me, that is all I want and all I need. And what stops us is we think about other person's judgment.
Yes.
Oh, you know how long them they're together. Oh, you know this and that, and the memories that you probably shared and the persons that you've introduced him to. Yes. What I can encourage to other persons, let him go. It is not for you. And who is for you in terms of like people on a wider spectrum, they will understand, they will encourage you, and you will move forward. Because as you said, who is for you in Auntie Nikki, because you said 5 women were there for you. I mentioned you counted out 5 women: Auntie Vi, Nabali, Kim, Jasmine Michelle, someone else. Yes. And Miss Roar, Auntie Road, they were there for you. Them never say, Lord Jesus, Nikki, or make you need to do this for Rihanna, Ajani. No, Nikki, you need to hold on to your marriage. No. They justified your feelings and they supported you, and that is what matters. And if you stop hold on power, people can't think about we. People not pay with bills.
That is true. And I learned that coming down to the end of my marriage, I learned that, look here, you need to stop thinking what others are
saying, people are gonna say,
what people think about you. You need to stop seeking their approval.
Yes. It's wrong. It's rubbish. It's foolishness. We're disrespecting ourselves if we do that.
Like, I am seeking approval from persons who don't even care.
And don't even know themselves either.
Exactly. And I'm saying they're not living like a a more magnificent or more better life than I am. So why am I so affected by what these person think
I
of
have
me?
to
Why
say,
do I need their
giving their thoughts a time of day. We are disrespecting ourselves, That's just what we have to realize, Each person recognizing your own self, that you are beautiful, you are magnificent, you are a treasure. That is it. You cannot let anyone else enter into your space and disrespect what you think of yourself, right? We cannot allow what others have to say. And because, what trick with sometimes is because that person may be credible in one area, like they're credible in praising God, right? Credible in praising God, let's say it's a church person. You're credible in praising God. And through them credible in praising God, they think that they're credible in everything else, in every aspect of life. Wrong. No human is perfect. We all crumble sometimes. And we cannot let someone else's, a human's judgment determine how we live our life and our own happiness. As me I tell you, Anthony K, nobody, if me decides that me I go take up myself and all move to Finland, nobody can tell me say, oh, it's dangerous. Me gone.
Yes, you have to start living life. And that's what I said, ooh, it took me this long to start living life on my terms. It took me this long, but
Yes.
I've gotten to the point where, as I said, you have to examine yourself and see what works
It's for you.
you, not what works
Yes.
for your family, not what works for your friends, not what's work for your partner, but what really works for you and
It's for
you
you.
yourself in doing all of this. Just be true to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yes.
what I learned coming down to the end of my marriage.
Marriage.
What works for you?
Mm-hmm. And I have to I'm commending you for recognizing that. No matter how long you feel like it took you, but I feel like in some sense everything happens for a reason. I don't really like saying that because especially when it comes on to death, you don't want to say, oh, they died, whatever. But like I feel like our paths were made out in a particular way to be fulfilled in a particular way, right? So I'm feeling like there's so much that you're learning now and you have so much appreciation for now that you didn't realize before. And it's a very unfortunate that sometimes we have to go through that stress. And sometimes even while we endure that stress is that it's because we don't listen. Because as you said, you prayed. And I can't say for sure, but maybe there was a time when God gave you the sign, but you did not listen to it. You did not want to accept it. And that is why sometimes we struggle for so long.
Again, you're looking at what society thinks.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking at the societal aspect of it. How will that look?
Yeah.
Go ahead and get a divorce. That's like a taboo.
Mm-hmm. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah, that's shameful. And again, the children, you want your children to be in a stable family, a stable home. And so you try to get that for them, not knowing that, you're doing
You're
them
hurting everyone.
than good. So,
Yeah.
it's a stage where as you get older and with your experiences, both what you go through and what you've seen in other persons' lives and situation, you put those together and you learn from them and you grow. Right? So
Yes.
as you get older, you become wiser.
Yes.
As you go through life, you experience things and you adjust as you go along. And
Yeah.
I should live my life over again. As you say, probably the signs were there, but I was being pigheaded. I didn't want to see them.
Mm-mm.
Just allow yourself to be open in a way where you can improve yourself. Don't fight against your own development, because I think in retrospect now, that is what I have been doing, fighting myself instead of letting it flow and learning and moving on.
Let it be.
I let myself stuck in a situation for too long.
Yeah, you give up on your truth. Because what you've expressed to me, and the thing about when we're talking, we don't even realize what we're really saying sometimes because we're telling a story, but there's so much meaning behind it because, like, you were always there for you. You were always there for you, and now this point of your life, you forgot about yourself because you want to keep up with your children having a father. You want to keep up with the face. You want to keep up with the marriage, with that love not starting over. That you forgot you've started over multiple times. You've started over multiple times before, and I get that it's a stress to start over. But as you said, that development part, we fight it. And it's for our own good. But you know what? It's okay. We can only get better.
Yeah.
We can only get better.
Just allow yourself to progress. With God,
Yes, allow yourself to
allow
rest.
yourself to progress, to go through. Just allow yourself to progress. As I said, look into you.
That is received.
Look into you.
Mm-hmm.
You know you.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
And just pray and move forward. Yes, it might not seem to be the ideal thing at the moment, but if everything else is fighting against it, and you pray, as you said, with clarity and you get your answer, don't fight against that.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Don't
you.
fight.
Yes.
Just allow yourself to progress and to become the best version of you
Thank you.
each day. The best
Yes.
version of you. And I think right? I allowed myself to remain stagnant for way too long. I was progressing in other areas.
Mm-hmm.
Professionally, I was progressing professionally, but emotionally, I held myself stagnant for way too long.
Too long. Yeah, it's something that all of us struggle with. New beginnings and getting so comfortable in a little pasa in a little slump. Oh my God. It's something that we are all guilty of. But we have to find the strength because moving on, starting over, has a starting over ever brought you worse than where you were before? So
No,
you
because
have to, it's just because it seems so difficult.
persons would say you're starting from zero, but no, you're starting from experience.
Experience.
You're
Yes.
starting from experience because starting over, you're not at the place where you were when you started. At 20 years old, I'm not there right now. I'm way beyond. You're way wiser than that that age right now. You have experience, you've seen things in life, you've gone to places, right? And you've realized that I have options. I don't have to stay here. I don't have to endure this anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yes. That is
So
so
just
true. So,
allow
so true.
yourself to progress. Just allow
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. All right. So going on to our other questions. So all of our other questions are related to the stories that you've told before. So are there cultural expectations of Jamaican women that you feel impact you today?
Hmm. Yes. Yes. Are there cultural experiences?
Are expectations of Jamaican women who you feel impacted today?
Uh, you cannot get away from how you were. Well,
Yes.
some things it's hard to get away based on how you were raised, right? So the Jamaican in me would say,
Mm-hmm.
all right, you're still responsible for keeping the household together, right? You're supposed to be responsible for making sure that the meals are there, making sure that the laundry is done, the house,
House is clean.
and all of that. But another aspect of me, the revolutionary aspect of me, would say that these responsibilities need to be shared. But at the same time, it's like a little struggle. It's like, yes, you know that you're the wife, coming from a Jamaican background, you're the wife. You're supposed to keep all of these household things together.
Things in check.
But the revolutionary aspect of me now, the part that has evolved, will say, all right, if I can do that, you can do that too.
Because your hand no left under your mother. So you must can do it too.
Exactly. So although I tend to lean to the revolutionary aspect of me now, I still have that part of me that says, all right, you need to, just hold on to that little aspect somewhat, but not to fully execute it as in former years, but that upbringing is still within me.
Yeah.
That upbringing is still there, but this is the new revolutionary me now.
Yes. And I also want to add to that too, because even like in a household, because I assume part of what you're saying too is also in a household, like even if you're in a relationship, the shared responsibilities in the home, like if you're cooking, cleaning, like if me a cook, you must can wash plate. If me a wash your clothes, you must can fold it too. Because I feel like it's very unfair for us as women. You give birth, you have the child, you take care of the child, you nurture the child. The child always runs to you most of the time. Mommy, 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 you ring off your ears. You have to now cater to your husband in ways of like opening up, giving him this when he asks for it, being there for him, preparing his food, sharing his food, giving him his food. And you also work.
Exactly.
And he works, but what does he do? He only works and come home and cock up him foot. And the only thing probably work by the car and the mechanical stuff, which is not every day. Like,
yes.
Oh, you have to cater to him every day, cater to the children every day, cater to the household, because house have to clean every day.
Yeah.
House has to be clean every day. That's something you do on weekend. That's something we are everyday thing. And women are the most spectacular creatures on this earth, I believe. And it is very fair. I don't know where this come from, if it is in the Bible, because I have not fully read the Bible as yet. See, like, why is it that we give so much and we take so little? It is very unfortunate. We open up those little things down there when we don't want to do it. We share and we give when we don't want to do it, when we don't have the strength, we don't have the energy. We're so tired. Our body hurts. We ache. And then yet we still have to produce this to you. And what does the other counterpart of us, what does the male figure in the house do? Like there has to be something else. I don't know where these expectations come from, where these rules come from, where it is written. But there's so much more that can be done for the female and male dynamic in the house. It is too much that women are doing, and it is too much that we're taking on.
And you know what? I think it's coming from back in the slavery days when the women would stay home and the men would go out to hunt.
To work.
Work. And then, but it has changed now because women are going there to work.
Yes.
So
I agree with you. It has come from, yes.
It was just the man going out there to hunt, to plant, and to come back in with the food while the woman would stay home
and keep the house and make sure the house is kept.
Keep in the house, and we have to go out there and work also. So it's only fair for it to be 50-50, right?
Yeah.
Both of us are going out to work. So whoever first comes back home, starts dinner, starts cleaning, starts the laundry, whatever, because both are going out now. It's not like I am going to be at home 24/7 while you go out. And then you have to come back in and cook. No, that wouldn't be fair. Right? But because both of us are going out now, the dynamics have to change. But as I said, it's our upbringing. We can try to move away from it, but it's still etched somewhere in our minds, in our brains, in our upbringing. It's just there. But we know better now. The revolutionary us knows better that this cannot be.
It cannot, because it's literally would be like a modern slavery for a woman too, or not even slavery, modern manipulation. It is crazy. I've spent a couple years in that life, and it is trash. Crazy. I don't think I could ever do that again without even though I did set my rules at first and everything, but like it is what we accept. It is just so crazy to me, so crazy. But it's something we have to work on, especially as women. We have to stand up for ourselves and saying this isn't working for us. You have to do better. Because if I am working as a woman to do better in this relationship in my life, and even in a social space, why you can't do better? Why you can't share the own food? Why you can't follow clothes them? You've never had to ask me for a shirt or a pants because it's always wash and put down. But yet I am doing these things and I'm also working too. Like who caters to me?
Right.
That it's crazy.
And we need to
Crazy.
realize that the dynamics have shifted, and so we just have to shift.
Yeah.
It's
There has to be some changes.
some changes, some adjustments.
Yes. True. That's what I'm saying now. Respectfully, your hand never left on them, madam. I see your two hand them now right now. So the must can use for something. So yes. All right. Ooh. Okay, so what role does faith, spirituality, or community play in helping you manage life's demands?
It plays a very, very important role. If it hadn't been for God, I wouldn't. I don't know where I would be right now.
Mm-mm.
It's
Right.
it's everything. It's everything. God has helped me through all of what I'm telling you. I owe everything to God. Because even in retrospect, I can remember me thinking that, through everything that I've been through, coming to know God now, I realized that He was always there. Even in situations where I thought I was alone.
Mm.
He was always there making a way, guiding, speaking to me. But because you don't know something, you don't realize that that was the driving force. But coming to know him now, I realize that God was always there. He was always there, guiding and telling me, piloting me, and say, all right, do this, do that, do that, do that, do this now. He was always the one who was there guiding and getting me through stuff that I thought I was getting through by myself.
Your own.
He was the one
Mm-hmm.
who was getting me through everything. And for that, I'm eternally grateful because now I know that I'm not doing it on my own.
Mm.
Now I know that I can actually go to him now and say, all right, Lord, this is the situation. You see, I'm asking you, I'm begging you. Now I know I have somebody to lean on now, as opposed to when I thought that it was just me alone in this world.
Amen to that. And so my next question is, how important is it to you to pass down Jamaican traditions to your children?
It is really, really important because I don't think living in the USA now, I don't think there's a structure. I don't think they have the culture. I don't think what's the word I'm looking for? I don't think they have the grounding for children to become their full potential. I just think that, for example, this is one of the things that shocked me when I came here and started teaching. A student would come into class, and I mean, back home, when a student enters a classroom, they say, good morning, good
Good
afternoon.
morning.
They
Yes.
just come in, they just drop their book bags, and they proceed to do whatever it is they are doing. No good morning or do anything like that. They don't acknowledge you, nothing. That was like a shock to me. So I had to start telling my students, hello, when you get here in the mornings, please say
good morning. Because you perceive that as disrespect
say hello.
too.
That upbringing is not there. And I'm saying, how can you just see a person for the first time in the morning or enter a building
Morning and
and just walk past? It's still there. I'm not used to that. So I think, they need some grounding, and my Jamaican traditions in that aspect of courtesy is always going to be there because I can't see it anywhere else. I cannot see it anywhere else. Another thing, after saying that with my students, and I've been coaching them, and you need to exchange pleasantries, good morning, good afternoon, whatever. I remember I was sitting in class one morning, and I don't know, I changed my hairstyle that morning, and the young man came in, looked at me, put his bag in his seat, and proceeded to go to the cafeteria where they normally meet for breakfast and devotion. And he went down there and was telling his classmates that, oh, there's a new teacher in class and whatever. So I went after him and I was like, did you not see me in the class this morning to say good morning? He was like, oh, it was you. I thought it was another teacher that was there. And I'm saying, whether it's me or another adult there or another person there, say good morning. Not because I'm the one who is telling you to say good morning means that you should only tell me good morning, but it should be a common thing to say. I mean, it was so shocking that, they want something. I didn't, for example, ketchup. I didn't get any ketchup. I'm like, what are you talking to like that?
Yeah, like, excuse me, I'm sorry. May I have some ketchup, please?
Please, thank you. I mean, it's so different. So those values, I think I am holding on to because it's really strange without them.
Yeah.
It was a shocker to me that children don't say these little common.
Those are the common courtesies, yes.
It was really a shocker.
Okay. Are there ways you stay connected to your roots? So since you're in a different environment now, how you stay connected to your roots?
How do I stay connected to my roots? It's my lifestyle. So there was never a disconnect there. Because it's my lifestyle. Even though I'm living in a different country now, I still do the things that I used to do back home. So there was never a disconnect there. There was never a disconnect there. I still cook my Jamaican meals as far as I can know. I still talk in my native tongue. I still do the things I normally do back at home, sweep, clean, the same things. It's just that I'm living in a new environment. But I can't part ways with how I was.
Yeah. That was most of your life. Do you listen to what kind of what genre of music do you listen to?
Mostly gospel.
Mostly gospel.
Yeah, love songs too. When I'm in a chill mood, I listen to love songs. I listen to my gospel, the hip hop. Even when I was living in Jamaica, I can't understand what the dancehall music is saying. It's just a one. I don't hear one word.
Oh my god! And it's so funny you say that because there was a point in my life too that I did not understand what they were saying, and I don't mean it as to like what the story is like. I could not understand a word. It sounded like them I said like, and I'm like, that is so, and I still feel away because I'm like, how am I not understand what them people are say? I couldn't understand one thing.
I still don't. Sometimes I hear Rihanna and Johnny, and I'm saying, how you hear what they
say?
I don't hear what they're saying. I just know that they're talking words, but the words don't make sense to me.
Oh my. Okay. So very important, especially at the stage that you are. This is something that I will take from you two to understand. How do you balance career, family, and self-care? And what challenges do you face in juggling these responsibilities?
Oh, I don't think
it's a big one, It seems like it's a anyway, it's a big question.
For the longest while, I can't say I've been doing good in that aspect, to be honest. Yeah, I need some more work in that. As I'm in a new environment now, there's so much more to do socially. There's so much more to do, in every little aspect. But for me right now, it's just home and work. I basically do nothing else.
You have to
Yes,
get out, Auntie Nikki.
yes, I know. But the thing is, I don't have any friends here. And to be going out by myself in a place that I don't know, I don't drive, it's just better for me to stay in right now.
Yeah.
Because I basically don't zero. To say I have a friend here that I can say, all right, let's go to the mall. Let's no, no,
Yeah.
zero.
That's a big thinking about that. No, that's a big shift and a big adjustment because in Jamaica you're used to having a neighbor where you can go sit down and laugh and talk to all to the next day you come. And now it's a that really reminds me of the big shift that we're facing here in America. I really would love that aspect of it. That's why I wish my friend lived closer. We could have just drive and go sit down our yard and just relax and talk, you know? Or you could just walk over your neighbor yard and relax. I feel like those are blessings that we didn't even realize. Looking back now. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a village back home. Here it's just you and yourself.
You and yourself.
It's just you and yourself. The only time you see the neighbors, and I don't even know which apartment who lives in. I just see them walking past, and I know that all right, they live somewhere down the
Yeah,
street. That's it. I don't know if they live at 1A, 1B, 1C, nothing. I don't know their names, nothing. It's just you in your little space here.
yeah. Yeah, slowly but surely, I encourage you to go out. Me too. I'm trying to build my village here because I feel like this will be my state. I
Okay.
love this state. It feels like Jamaica. I don't know this because we have a lot of trees here, but it's one of the most beautiful. It's the most beautiful state I've been in so far since I've been here. So I feel like this will probably be my home. Who knows? So all now for me, especially growing now, it's time for me to start going out, socializing safely, and getting to know people and building my village here. Slowly, I know a few persons here that are very, very like family to me. So I do appreciate that, but I want to have closer friends that I could like. If I come home from work, if I have to go home, I could just go by them house and just like sit down and talk and just express myself to them rather than having to keep everything built up. You know, just sharing that friendship with someone here.
And I think part of me too, I'm afraid of doing that because what had happened in the past, I don't know if I can trust anybody,
Trust.
innermost thoughts, and just what I'm going through. So that's why I'm always on the phone. Sometimes, Navali and I, we don't talk every day, but once we talk, Natisha's like 2, 3 hours.
Talk.
We're talking because guess what? I left my
Catching up and
back
everything.
home. They're there, right? So I don't know if I want to form that friendship here. I don't know. To be honest, I don't know if I can open up to anybody new, get to know. It's like a new relationship I'm starting. Get to know those
Yeah.
people again if they're trustworthy. I can trust them with my innermost thoughts or anything like that. I don't know, to be honest. And that's
Yeah.
I'm not so enthused about.
A part of it. Yeah, I understand. I understand. And a friendship is a relationship, and that's sometimes we kind of forget that it's a big thing to navigate friendships too, right? But I pray if it is for you, it will be for you, right? Don't rush it, don't push it, don't force it. If it is for you, it will be for you.
I mean, there's this older lady at my work. She's Jamaican, but she has been here for many, many, many years. That's the closest friend, Miss Rose. That's the closest. And when I say she's an older lady, much older, probably in her 60s, going up to 70.
Mm.
That's yes, that's and of her age, she's not gonna hang around at the park or go shopping at the mall or anything like that. But
Yeah,
certain things I know I can say to her, I can confide in her, but that's basically
but about it.
the only person I have here in the US that
Mm.
I can open up to a little bit. I'm not enthused about getting any more friends. I don't know
Yeah.
if that's the right thing to do. And then say once bitten, twice shy. So the few little that I can count on one hand,
Yes.
what I'm keeping.
Yes.
Because I know they're been tested and proven already, and I know I can trust those 5 ladies. So
Yeah. Okay. And I'm glad you have those 5 ladies in your life, regardless, even if they're not physically here. I'm glad you're still communicating with them and you can always pick up the phone and call one or the other. That's good. That's good. All right. So, big one. So, what advice would you give young women navigating life?
embrace the experience. Be true to yourself. Pray and pray and ask for guidance.
Mm-hmm.
Pray some more. But in the end of it, just be true to you.
Mm.
Just, I'm not asking you to be so selfish that you don't care about others' feelings. But at the end of the day, make sure that what is being done, you have done it so that you remain true to yourself, true to your feelings, true to your emotions, true to who you represent, true to who you are. Don't shortchange yourself.
Mm.
Don't shortchange yourself. Embrace the process. Allow yourself to progress. Don't let yourself be stuck in a stagnant situation. Just
Yeah.
choose to progress each day and remain
Yes.
true to yourself.
Okay. Thank you. All right. The next question. Are there any women or figures who have inspired you throughout your life and why?
Okay, as I was telling you about my high school food and nutrition teacher, Mrs. McCoy.
Mm-hmm.
She's somewhere here in the States. I'm yet to get in touch with her. I'm not sure where she's in the States. But yeah, that was one of my first inspiration. I tell you, she's a darling of a woman. She's a woman and a half. And to think that, she too, realizing now as an adult, she too was going through a lot.
Mm.
And she managed to be so kind and caring and
Yes.
true to her students. She was going through a lot. And I mean, she handled it like a boss.
Mm.
So it wasn't just in the classroom that she inspired me, but also in her
Own
social
life.
family life.
What do you hope the next generation of women will take away from your experience?
Again, I cannot overemphasize being true to you. Yeah, and not shortchanging yourself, because basically all my life that's what I've been doing, shortchanging myself and not allowing myself to progress, allowing myself to be stuck in a stagnant situation, even though I see where it's not getting me anywhere. And I was, denying myself of opportunities that would have helped me to progress. I still remain in a stagnant situation. So for the next generation, just make sure you know yourself, assess
Mm-hmm.
yourself, your needs, your desires, and stay true to you.
Yourself. Amen. The last one. How do you think your younger self would feel about where you are today?
Very, very
Amen.
mean. Um, I've gotten to a point where, throughout all this that was happening, I managed to push through academically, professionally, gain my experiences to the point where I got a diploma, I got a bachelor's, and I have a master's. And I think in the next couple of years, I'll be taking on the challenge of getting a PhD.
PhD. Okay.
So my younger self, who saw nothing worthy of me, my self-worth was at zero. I did not
Mm-hmm.
think that I would be here, even though that's what I wanted. But the self-esteem I had, didn't think I would be here. But through it all, God has been there, and that's all that really matters. Once God is on your side, it's a done deal. It's a done.
Yeah.
I have God to thank for that over and over and over and over. Because without him, I wouldn't be any of this. Any of this. Broken crayons can still color. And that's what I am. I'm a broken crayon.
Yeah.
And I still color beautifully today. So yeah, my younger self would be very, very proud of what.
Yes. It's so nice. Wonderful, wonderful. I just want to say thank you again, Antoniki. When we were first starting, when we first started with our introduction prayer, I said how grateful and appreciative I am to have this conversation with you because you mean so much to me. And I want to say this to you, to your face, and publicly for you to know that I really and truly appreciate you. And I'm really so grateful for you being a neighbor and for you being an aunt to me. Right? Because it's not Auntie Nikki out of just respect because you're older, because it's Auntie Nikki because you have been there for me. I remember CXC back in CXC. This was one time when I realized, oh my God, when it was CXC and CXC results come out, and me come tell her the next morning, walk over and come tell you, and knock for you doing today. And you celebrated me, and I think you posted me on Facebook, right? And I remember, and I cried. I cried so much because it meant the world to me to be celebrated. Yes, because I felt like I didn't get that celebration from those who were supposed to give me the celebration in the moment. And you did something to me that made me feel worthy of the work that I had put in to achieve these grades. And you celebrated me, and it was a public celebration. It's not like, oh, thank you, because there's different type of celebrations and how celebrations make you feel. And I am just so grateful for you always looking out for me. If anything, I could, if me hungry, I know for sure, if anything, I could come and knock on your door and say, Anthony, give me hungry, I'm want to look for food. Or if there was anything where if there was a need for me to come to you and talk and say something, I could come and talk to you. I feel safe in your arms. I was always comfortable in your home. If me beside you, I'm just so grateful. A lot of us don't have that, Antoniki. We don't have that female support of someone that is not related to us, catering to us like I am your own. And me appreciate that so much. So thank you for always a look out for me. Look at Natisha, look at Natty. It means more
You
than
were
the world
my
to me.
first sight, Natty. I loved you from the first moment I saw you, baby girl.
Oh,
I loved you from the first moment. Nana, bring you out. From the first.
yes.
Trust.
Yes. I'm so grateful I got a chance to be in your presence and to witness you and to even witness you now in adulthood. Because as a child in adulthood now, it is very different because you're realizing things that you didn't even realize were even there, right? So, because it was probably none of your business to realize it then. So, but I don't know. I hope you know I'm just so, so, so grateful to have you in my presence. To know if anything, me can call Auntie Nikki, me can say to Auntie Nikki, and you're just there. You never make me feel one way. You always did it for me. I'm more cry. I'm so appreciative. I'm so grateful. Thank you. Thank you for being kind to me. Thank you. Yes, and thank you for this conversation too. Yes, it meant a lot to me. All right, so we're gonna close off. Okay, so thank you so much for joining us today on I'm Every Woman. I hope you enjoyed our conversation as much as I did and that you found inspiration in the stories that we shared. Remember, every woman's journey is unique, and together we celebrate the beauty of those experiences. If you love today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend who might need a little inspiration. I'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback, so feel free to connect with us on social media or drop a comment. Until next time, Keep embracing your own story, and remember, you're never alone on this journey. Take care, and I can't wait to connect with you in our next episode. Bye.